Welcome to the Riding in the Weeds podcast, where we tackle life's inevitable challenges, from navigating mountain bike trails to overcoming business hurdles and forging deeper connections with pets and people. It's easy to find yourself tangled in the weeds, but we're here to help with insights and strategies that'll get you out of the weeds. Our goal is to boost your performance in both sports and everyday life by sharing essential skills that we've learnt along the way. Through tales of our entrepreneurship journey, thrilling biking adventures, and fostering meaningful relationships, your hosts, Natasha, Lockey, and Ginny, Branden, will guide you on a journey that's not only enjoyable, but also inspiring. Join us to gain confidence that you need to navigate the trails of life. Hello, and welcome to episode 62. Today's episode is bringing you all in on the conversation that Ginny and I are having that was started from a post that Ginny posted the other day in regards to her animal communication and how she can't fix the problem. She can't tell your dog, your cat, your animal to change their behavior because what they're doing is bothering you. And it really made me see that bigger picture that this is how we feel about our lives sometimes, right? Like, well, can I just tell my partner to not do that thing and then I won't be upset anymore? Or can I just change the way that that customer responded to my behaviors so that they don't respond in that way anymore? And like the short answer, as Jenny likes to say so often, is no. No, I can't do that. And it's very true in the sense of the animal communication, but it's truer in such a broader sense. So we were just having a bit of a conversation around this topic and thought that, this isn't fully formed. We don't even know what the title is right now, but this is for you if you feel like you want to control the outside world and you can't, and that frustrates you. And there's a whole lot of things that we have talked about in the past, but this is a really good way to get stuck in the weeds, is when you are trying to shift what's going on outside of you. Essentially, you've got a trigger. In the same way as we have glimmers, which we generally just ignore, those are the good things. Those are the positive things. Those are the times when people write the stunning review for you. Those are the times when your animal does exactly what you want it to do. But most of the time, what we notice is the triggers. The only thing we can control is ourselves. And this goes back to 2 episodes ago, where what's happening in between your ears when this happens for you, when something isn't working out that you feel like you're out of control of, how can you actually move it into your control, adjust your feelings about it, adjust your behaviors? Because what you're wanting is somebody else to adjust their behaviors. That's not going to happen. So can you maybe adjust your behaviors to allow the world to shift around you? It's like relationship coaches say, you can't wait for your partner to be on board to fix your relationship. You can actually fix your relationship from inside you by looking at how you're responding, you're reacting, what you are doing. And that is like the truth. You don't want to hear it. It's often way harder work. And that is the conversation that we were just having. So I'm going to bring in Ginny. I am Natasha Lockey. I am a professional mountain bike performance coach and life performance coach, all based on how our physical pursuits really play into how we relate with the rest of the world. Ginny pretty much is the same, but with the animal communication world. So she works with animals and is all about bringing the alignment in for you, because really the relationship you're having with your animal is a reflection of the relationship that you are having with yourself as well. So, Ginny, your turn.
Yeah, this is a big topic, but I think we're just going to play around with this a little bit today. And I have to say, this is a perfect reflection of exactly why we do this podcast, because we found that in our passions and our focuses in our businesses, it reflected a bigger picture of what was going on out in the world. And so we're just here trying to share these life lessons that we're exploring and discovering and learning through our passions that apply to the rest of life. And this is a big one for me. It's a little bit of a hot button because I think it's been a little bit of my story with struggling with trying to figure out why my animals just won't do the thing I want them to do. The reality is that you can never change another being or person's behavior, no matter how bad you want to. You can ask, but even that sometimes is a stretch. And that's why I can't fix your dog. I can't fix your cat. I can't fix anything. All I can do is witness them and witness you and share what each of you are feeling from each side of the fence with each other, and hope that that helps everyone get on a middle ground. But the bottom line is the only one we can control in this situation is ourselves. And until we're willing to look inward and explore what might be going on that could potentially be contributing to a situation, we're not going to get any changes in the external world. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's so true. And just while you were talking, I was reflecting on, like, we have these guilty things. We know we're not doing enough in certain places. We know we're not holding up our end in certain places. You're human. If you were, you wouldn't be human. Because if you were doing everything perfectly all the time for every area of your life, like, please tell me how we would like to have you on the show.
We'll
Because
be
we
your
would like to know.
students.
You can coach us. I don't know if I believe you though, so maybe I wouldn't want you to be my coach because I just don't know if that's possible. And so we have these opportunities in our lives where we get little reminders. I was telling Ginny just before, so we'll be serving dinner at the lodge and Tiaki will be being amazing. He's hanging out. Sometimes he follows me to the table. I get him to follow me back. He is a very, very well behaved dog. And then after dinner is served and I'm clearing the plates away, he starts barking at me. And what I have found is that it doesn't matter how much love and attention he has been getting from everybody else, he has not been getting anything from his parents for a good couple of hours because we've been busy prepping and then I'm organizing, and nobody has really been paying attention to him other than telling him, not do this, don't do that, be quiet. Same as if I had a toddler in the house, right? Can you imagine if I told my 3-year-old for 3 hours to just be seen and not heard? Eventually there's going to be a moment where they're like, I can see you're pretty much done here. Me now. And that's exactly what Tiaki does. And I go, oh, excuse me, Ian, you're on desserts. I got to take the dog for a quick walk. And we go for a 5-minute walk, come back, he lies back down, and then once dinner is completely served and done, we will take him to the park and play with his ball. And maybe I'm training him, or maybe I'm listening to him. I'm not really sure which, but that's the only way I've figured out how to manage the situation. And I don't think I need Ginny to come in and tell him, hey, your parents are a bit busy right now. If you can just give them time. It's not going to help the situation at all. It's really just going, oh, okay, I have been ignoring you. Let's go for some walkie time.
Yeah. What I love about that situation is this brings up something that my trainer was talking about in her newsletter this month, which kind of sparked the whole thing for me. And that is the Socratic method for learning and teaching. This goes all the way back to Socrates, that the idea was that it's not about putting knowledge into the student. It's about believing that a learner of any kind, so whether that's a pet or another person, has their own innate wisdom within them, and it's the teacher's responsibility to draw it out. And so in your relationship with Tiaki, it's a great example of you figuring out how to work with what he's giving you and find a solution that works for both of you that's acceptable in the moment, rather than just demanding that he stop the behavior and assuming that you know best in the situation, or assuming that you have an answer that is right for him. So in that moment, 5 minutes of walk is all he needs. What would have happened if you had just gotten angry with him and put him outside or locked him somewhere in a room? All he wanted was 5 minutes. 5 minutes between what you're doing, you're probably back before dessert's over anyway at that point. It's not going to take that long, and his needs are now met. And you got to get out of the room and stretch your legs. Who knows? He might even be responding to something in your energy that's telling him that you need a break. We never know.
And now you're going deeper. Because that's exactly it, right? If you go into the Ho'oponopono method, that whole thing is around the fact that if it is in your reality, if it is in your experience, you have responsibility for it. There is a reason why you are in a place where this is happening. And you can go through your life and be like, that's got nothing to do with me. However, if you go into that whole method, the idea is if it is in your reality in any way, shape, or form, you happen to turn the TV on and that was the thing that came on the TV. You were walking down the street and you happened to witness that thing that happened. If it is in your reality at that moment in time, it has something to do with you. And therefore, their whole method is to clean it out, right? So then you clean out the virus because that would not have been within your reality if it was not for you. Because if it's not for you, it's not there. And that is such,
Yeah.
it's like one of those
Yeah.
mind-blowing concepts because, like, how do you even wrap your head around there's so many, but, but, yeah,
Yeah, but it's not my fault. That's what always comes up for me in that conversation with Ho'oponopono is the instinct, the sort of human response is, yeah, but that's not my fault. But the way I view that is it's in my reality. It's not my fault, but it's my responsibility to clean. And it's my responsibility to be responsible for my energy in that moment. And so Tiaki bugging you, it is still your responsibility to be responsible for your energy and how you respond to that situation and not contributing any more anxious, tumultuous, I'll say negative. I don't like using the words positive and negative when talking about it, but that chaotic energy to the situation, that's something you can control. That doesn't mean it's easy. It's simple. It's not easy. But that is your part of that situation and how you manage that situation. And the more I put these things into practice, and practice and practice and practice, the more I find that things do get easier because I don't need to go there. The really big one for me is dealing with the horses when they get in that kind of energy. Because when you have 1,000 or 2,000 pound animal next to you with that kind of energy, it's big. And for a lot of people, that can trigger real fear and real anxiety around personal safety issues. Being able to manage my own energy next to a 1-ton animal that has that same explosive, excited, chaotic energy, that's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. But the better I get at that, the less that bothers me and the less it becomes a big deal and the less it often happens. It just doesn't happen that way anymore.
Yeah, I love how you've brought up the idea of the fear, right? Because generally these things that happen outside of our control, our response to them is based on a fear. It triggers something inside of us. And just before we hopped on, one of the things that Ginny said that it's so applicable in pretty much 100% of situations. When you've got a human being in front of you or there's a situation going on that you're like, I'm out of control. I don't know how to control this situation. This person is unhappy and I don't know what to do. And Ginny was saying that her husband says to disgruntled customers, how can I make this better for you? What can I do for you in this moment to make it better? Am I saying that right?
Yeah. So if he has a customer in his business that is unhappy for whatever reason, he says basically, what would make you feel right about this? So he gives them the opportunity to communicate to him how they would feel if the situation were corrected to their level. And the wild thing is what he's discovered is that more often than not, people ask for less than what he anticipates they would ask. They don't ask for a full refund. They don't ask for something that's exorbitant. They ask for less than what he guesses they would have asked for. So the benefit to him is now he's not having to take 100% loss on something. And what he'll often do, because it's also less than he expected them to say, is now he can go a little bit more. So he can provide just a little bit extra over and above what they ask for as a resolution to a negative situation. It's such a cool and simple way to help someone feel seen, to allow them the autonomy to express whatever they feel would resolve a situation. And then everyone wins. And he's had so much success in handling negative situations with customers, but I feel like that also applies like in so many other places in our life and our business and just interacting with other people.
For me, that's like, wow, you just gave me a tool that gives me back the power. Because when I don't know what that person's thinking and I'm scared of all the repercussions of whatever it is that I'm imagining up in my head that they might be thinking, I freeze. I don't know how to respond. And it's fascinating. I've been in the lodge business, like we've run lodges before, we've been in this situation, and there's some sort of attachment I have going on right now. And I think there's other fears going on. I really want to do a good job. And I don't know where that's coming from. But I notice, like, when we serve dinners, I want it to be exceptional. Partly it's because we were told so many times that the last people were so good. So I feel like we've got this level that I don't even understand. I never ate their food. Like, there's this bar.
Imaginary bar.
It's an imaginary bar. And for me, I'm such a perfectionist and I'm so critical and I want everyone to be so happy. And people respond so differently to things as well. Last night, we were serving dinner and I asked how things were. And this guy's like, well, it's fine. And I'm like, what does that mean? What does that's fine mean? Like, he didn't complain. He didn't say it wasn't good. He said that's fine. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with that. So I was like, okay. And I walked away. If you're not going to give me anything, I'm just going to take it as that. It's just his way of being. And then other people are like, oh, gushing, like, that was so good. Thank you so much. So when I go back and his plate is literally lit clean, I'm like, well, fine must be good. Because you were either really hungry and you just ate it and it was fine, or that was totally fine. Nothing wrong with it. Maybe it wasn't the best meal I've ever had, but you're not going to give me any more. So I'll go with that. But then you've got the guy who said, well, the potatoes were a little dry. And I literally froze. I didn't know what to do. And yet, that's such a great piece of information. Okay. Is there anything I can do to make that better for you?
Yeah.
Or you said it so much better. How you use the feeling word. Say it again.
Oh, now you're going to make me say it again. Is there anything that I can do that would have you feel like, have them feeling like the situation is resolved? What do you need to feel like this situation is resolved in a positive manner? I think you're hitting it right there, that all of these reactions are really about fear. Even when we go into our pet relationship, if I am able to work with the person long enough and they are willing to explore enough, what I find in those situations is that there's almost always like some sort of a fear response that's being triggered by the animal's behavior that's causing them to freeze up and get frustrated, get angry, and it comes out that way. And so then the brain solution is just make it stop. Make that behavior go away so that I don't have to deal with it again. But that's where that Socratic type thinking comes in handy, is it's like, well, wait a minute. How can we draw out the wisdom that's already there? And I think that applies to those negative customer situations too. They have their own innate wisdom. And I believe people do know what's best for themselves, even if they don't always express it in the best way. And so therefore, how can we draw out what would help them have a positive experience? That is so much harder with some people than other people. There's never going to be 100% success rate. It's just not, because people are their own beings and they have their own patterns and trauma and stories, and it goes on forever. And we can't control that. But what we can control is our energy. And oftentimes those people that come at you like that, if you can still maintain that grounded energy, it's like being next to the barking dog. It's like being next to the wild horse. Can you just be in your own space and not have that energy change your energy? Can you be the grounded, calm presence? Because if you can get to that level, those kind of people want something to push against. The dog is going to bark because there's something to respond to. There's nothing left to respond to, then there's nothing that they can fight against. The resistance is gone.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're reminding me too, years ago, I noticed that I would be so nervous when I was turning up to teach a bike lesson. And I've got these people that they all want something from me. And I want to make sure that I deliver and I do a really good job. And, and I was like, wow, I am so nervous right now. And so I really started doing exactly that. I started asking, you know, if I can give you 1 to 3 things in this 2 hour session that will have you walking away and feeling like we have had success and that you've got something to work on, what can I do? And so they would tell me. And then I was like, okay, now I know. If I ask you.
There it
And
is.
so then as the lesson went through, right, I'm like, okay, well, this piece of information, that's really going to help you, Jane, because you want to do this. And this piece of information will also really help you over here, Mary, because this is going to help that piece for you as well. And I was able to then relate what I was teaching them as opposed to just throwing out a whole lot of information and hoping that it stuck because they'd signed up for a beginner lesson. So I'm just going to teach my rote beginner lesson that I know is going to work when I don't actually know what you want. And the same thing for you on your bicycle. If you go into a bike ride knowing the experience that you want to be talking about in the coffee shop or the bar afterwards, and you want to be able to say to your friends, like, oh my God, that bike ride was so good because I had XYZ experience, you're able to then take the actions that will give you that experience. If you're wanting to be able to say at the end of the night that, oh my God, that was such a great bike ride, I felt like I was in the flow. And even when I screwed up, I actually felt like I was able to flow through those moments with ease and grace without that frustration. When you start to feel that frustration coming up, you're actually like, hey, hold on. If I get frustrated right now, I'm not going to be able to have that conversation later on. So how can I bring flow back into this situation for myself so that I'm able to step into the experience that I want to be having? Or when we're responsible for the experience that we want to have, when you turn the TV on, you're not going to have that thing on the TV. When you go for a walk, you're not going to encounter that couple that's bickering on the side of the road or see that thing that frustrates you, because that's not what you're drawing. You've cleaned that out. You're saying, hey, you know what? I'm responsible for the experience I want to have. And this is what the energy I want to put out there is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just want to say, it's like our conversation the other day in episode 60. I started playing with the idea of, does it need to be hard? And I'm asking Facebook to give me perspective on this and this because I was having those thoughts. And then I got to the bottom of it and I was like, when I bring it into something I know, which is biking, I'm like, no. In fact, that's the exact opposite. That's not how I would do it if I taught here. I know the answer.
Yeah.
I just need to find a way to draw that intelligence out. And it's the same with you on your bicycle. It's the same as you with your pets. It's the same in any situation. If you actually believe that you have the answer inside of you, then you can let the situation or the experience draw it out of you. Whereas if we walk around going, I just don't know what to do, I'm helpless, I don't have control, well,
Yeah.
probably
You
not
probably don't.
gonna have
Yeah. Yeah. And
control.
one of the horse people that I studied with for a while had a phrase that says frustration begins where knowledge ends. And that blew my mind the first time I heard it, because every situation that I could identify in my life where I had gotten really frustrated, I ran out of knowledge. I ran out of skills that I had around that subject at that moment in time. And when you know that, then you can go, cool, all right, I need to take a pause and go find some more information. We live in the information age. You can find whatever you want about anything now. And so you need to just step back and go get more information. There have been plenty of times in the middle of a session with my horses that I have stopped because I realized that I didn't have the tools to finish what I was doing in a way that was going to be beneficial to me and to my horse. And it was better if I just said, you know what, we're just going to go put it all away right now because I'm not feeling confident in my ability to manage my energy within this situation. That being said, occasionally you have to learn You can live through something by living through something. So there's times where you need to be stretched. This was like last episode, right? There's times where you need to survive a situation to know that you can. That's not always fun, and that's not always the ideal way to do it, but you have to have a balance of that, and you've got to know when it's time to get off, to put the horse away, to get off the bike and walk through this section of trail, so that you're not creating more frustration and piling that energy on top of it and not being able to work through it. There's no shame in that. There's 100% not any shame in that. And when you can do that, then you have the freedom to be able to explore, again, how do we draw the wisdom out, either out of our pets or out of ourselves? How do we find more wisdom that's already there?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to dip my toe into a future topic, but one that's came up for me and is it's always floating around. I think when we understand our why, when we understand our reasonings for doing anything, then if we can see that bigger picture, we're also able to, okay, I don't know right now, but I got to get through this. Why am I here? Back to either a biking or a disgruntled customer, all situations. Well, my purpose for being here right now is because I want to enhance these people's experience. Okay, that's my why. If I'm trying to enhance this person's experience, well, the logical thing is going to be, what can I do to make you feel like this situation has been resolved, or to feel better about this situation? That actually becomes very innate in a situation where I know my why.
Yeah.
My purpose of having a dog is to have this really cool relationship with this really cool being who's in my world. Okay, well, if that's the purpose, obviously shutting them in a room or tying them up is not the right response, because that doesn't feed into the why of what we're doing. I was on a Trinont leadership call, my wellness company I work with, and they were talking about, what's your why? And when you're talking to people about these products or the business opportunity or any of the parts of a network marketing business, if you know your why, you're not going to be scared to tell people about it. You're not scared of people being like, I'm not interested. Well, that's fine. My why is to let people know about this opportunity so that they can perhaps improve their lives. You don't think that would work for you? Cool. I've done my part.
Yeah.
And I can move on.
Yeah. I love that. When you're grounded in that, then you don't have to worry about it. And it becomes easier to manage your energy, and it becomes easier to manage the situation from what you can control, which is yourself. And when you've got that dialed in, then things around you, it doesn't matter. It's like being in a kayak or a canoe. The water doesn't matter anymore. What's happening in the water doesn't matter because you're stable. And the more we can put that into practice, the better it becomes. But it truly is a practice. You're going to mess up. Lord knows there have been plenty of times where I finished a session with my horses and I was like, that was probably not our best work. Probably should have stopped that somewhere along the way. And there have been times where I've handled my dogs and my cats where after the fact I was like, dang, that was not a moment that I really would be proud of. But now I can take that and go, okay, next time this comes up, what do I need to do? And so often our animals are reflecting the energy back to us. And we have to be willing to stop and go, hey, wait a minute. I'm the one that has the power here to make a different decision. And when we give ourselves that power and that choice, then we can start to make changes to how our energy is showing up. The deeper I get with all of this and the more I study all of this, the better my relationships with my animals get. Because they can't get out of my energy. The horses are lucky because they stay there and I can be here and they don't see me for 24 hours a day. But Lockey's with you almost all the time. So you and Ian are Taki's world, and he doesn't get a vacation. He doesn't get a break. My cats don't get a break. They can't leave the house. When we consider that, it makes the impact of our energy that much more important. And it's our responsibility. ain't nobody else going to do it for us. And it sucks. Lord knows my life lately has been super stressed out. And I have to keep working on my energy because, the next thing that happens is my cat decides to pee on stuff. That's like the one more straw thing, right? And I know this is how my clients feel. I get it. This is the stories I hear. It's the one more thing, like, oh, it's the last thing. They just won't stop. Speaking of Mr. Tiaki, he's coming for a visit. They just won't stop with whatever's going on. But it's because I am not being responsible enough for my energy. And it does suck. Sometimes it feels like you just can't. There are days where it's like, you just can't. But you just have to keep chipping away at it and practicing and practicing and practicing. And the more opportunities you get to practice, the better you get at it. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. And I won't be this person 10 years from now. I hope I'm even better by then. Because Lord knows I am not perfect.
As we started with, I don't think anyone is, and it's purely a spectrum. And yes, Tiaki did come for a visit. It was funny because he heard you say his name a couple of times, and then the fly that was flying around him got annoying, and he tried to eat the fly, and then he was like, well, they're talking about me. I'm going to go over and say hi. So that's how he responded to the environment that he had. And now he's on the couch next to me getting some loving, going, I can hear Ginny.
They're talking
Ginny's
about
my
me.
friend.
I know they're talking about me.
We've said this before. These are the conversations that Ginny and I have. We start somewhere and we end up somewhere else, and we could probably sit here for hours. So we'll let you all go. And I did just want to do a shout out. You're going to hear this from me regularly. And we are getting closer. We're confirming the price and the details for our retreat. So super excited. If you don't already know, mark your calendars, January 12th to 17th in Cerritos, Baja, California, sir. There is going to be a yoga, bike, and surf retreat. It's going to be 5 nights, 6 days. It's going to be incredible. If you want more details, please let me know, and I will be posting the details in all of our places. You can find the podcast on Instagram, Writing in the Weeds. We have a website, writingintheweeds.com. We always have a blog that goes with each one of these episodes that digs a little deeper into the general theme of what we're talking about in the episode. Show notes, links, anything you need that we've mentioned on the episode is also going to be there. We are on YouTube, of course, and all of the platforms. So please leave us a review. Share this episode with anybody who you think would benefit from hearing this conversation. And thank you to everybody that has downloaded, who has listened, and who listens to us on a regular basis. We really appreciate you being here. I am Natasha Lockey. You can find me at Betty Go Hard on Instagram, Natasha Lockey on Facebook, and on LinkedIn. And I'm your resident performance mountain bike coach and performance life coach. So if you have dreams that you're wanting to make happen, if you're wanting to really step into the dream that you are already living and really feel that in your space, I can help you with that. I've got a whole lot of tools in my toolkit, and I would love for you to feel that you are living the life that you were meant to be living, because life here on this planet is supposed to be experienced. It's not about getting somewhere. It's about really enjoying the journey along the way. What about you, Ginny?
Yeah, I'm Ginny Branden. I'm an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. If you are struggling with your pet relationships and you just wish they would stop doing the thing, I can't tell them to do that, but I will happily work with the two of you together to figure out the best way to make some changes so that you can both get back to harmony and have a little bit better relationship together. So if you just want to get to know your pet too, that's also a great reason to have a session together. The pets love it and the people love it, and it is a lot of fun to learn a little more. You can find me on the web at soulpetconnections.com and on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram under the same handle. So we appreciate you going along for the ride today with us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
And I just wanted to also add on to that, if your pet has not been feeling well and you're just not really sure what's going on, Ginny can also help you with that. It's really neat when Tiaki's not eating his food and Ginny will check in and be like, yeah, he's got a sore tummy. So shift some things up and things start getting better. Health concerns are a really big thing that an animal communicator can help you with, and Ginny's really good at it. So, again, I'll reiterate what she just said. Thank you so much for being here. You got this. Life is just here for the fun. And yep, you'll get stuck in the weeds, and we're just here to help you ride out of them. So, have a great day. Thanks for being here.